Yes, good evening, everyone. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So, before we start with our today's session, let me share with you all a very bad news, and some of you might be aware of that Harshali Madam, Dr. Harshali Gomase, has left us for the heavenly abode. So, let's all of us pray that her soul rest in peace. That news has shocked us, all the faculties, all the staff members of Metric. So let's all pray for her soul to rest in peace. And now we will be starting with our session. In the last session, we had discussed about the topic related to strategic management process, evaluation, and control. For the last so many days since we had started with strategic management, we have been discussing about what is strategy, what is strategic management, how strategy is to be formulated, how strategy is to be implemented, and how strategy is to be monitored. Now, this particular topic where we will be discussing about strategic management, process evaluation, and control. In the one diagram itself, we will come to know about the entire process of right from strategy designing to strategy evaluation. So that process we will be discussing. Most of the things we have already discussed in the last so many lectures. If you are having any problem, you can stop me, unmute yourself, and you can ask query. And then we will move on to our next topic. So we will start with now the process of strategy, strategic management, evaluation, and control. We will start with the first point, which is called as strategic intent. Then goes strategic formulation, followed by strategic implementation, which is followed by strategic evaluation. And towards the end of the slide, you can see that strategic control is there. So, strategic control is related to monitoring all the four phases. And there is SWOT is written, SWOT analysis. So, whenever we are implementing control measures, so at that particular time, we have to implement this SWOT analysis. So we will start with the first one, that is strategic intent. So intent is, in simple words, we can say how serious the organization is for a particular strategy. That shows the intent of the organization. That shows the interest of the organization. And that is called as strategic intent. Now, when strategic intent is to be, say, checked, we have to check about that determine organization vision and mission statement. That what is the organization vision and mission statement? Then set schedule objectives such as revenue increase by 15%. Strategic intent, we have just discussed that it is how much serious the top management of the organization is related to formulation and implementation of a particular strategy. Now, here, the other thing we have to keep in mind that any organization or most of the organizations get serious with strategy formulation and implementation when the projections are made that if we implement this particular strategy, we will be able to earn profit, more profit by say 15%, by 10%, by 12%, by 20%, or maybe more than that. So the more profit the organization understands with the help of that analysis, that if we right now the existing strategy is this, and because of this strategy our profit is say 5%, 6%, or 10%. If we change the strategy and if we implement the new strategy, our profit will go to say 15% instead of 10, or maybe more than that. So the more profit, if it is shown in the in the analysis of before implementing that strategy, we can say more intent we can see of the organization or of the top management regarding formulation or implementation of that particular strategy. And that is done under that SWOT analysis. That what are the strengths, what are the opportunities, what are the threats, and what are the weaknesses. In with the help of this analysis, we come to know that how much profit this particular strategy will give to the organization. And the more the profit, more we see that organization is interested in formulating and implementing that strategy. And that is what strategic intent is. Because strategic intent is very important. The management should be serious. And when the management is serious, then we will see how we will be able to understand that whether the management is serious or not serious regarding formulation and implementation of strategy. So it is with certain decisions related to allocation of funds for implementing strategy, allocation of say other resources, equipment, machines, tools, raw material. If the organization is serious, sorry, if the organization is serious, then all the clearance related to say manpower, related to raw material, related to purchase of new machinery, related to sending employees, existing employees for training on automated machines or new machines, All these things, clearances of all these things are faster. And when they are faster, these clearances are faster, we can judge that yes, the organization's intent is very clear. The top management's intent, strategic intent is clear regarding implementation of a particular strategy. So that is the meaning of strategic intent. Second one is strategy formulation that we have already discussed in detail. So very quickly we will try to cover up it. Uh, then uh, for formulation of strategy, conduct SWOT analysis on organizational performance. Now, SWOT analysis is to be done on the existing position of the organization. What is the existing position? Because if we are able to understand our existing position, then only we will get to know that whether new strategy is to be implemented or not. If the current strategy is showing good profit for the organization, then the we should not change the strategy very quickly. So that we will come to know with the help of SWOT analysis. So under strategy implementation formulation, first is conduct SWOT analysis on organizational performance. Second one is determine multi-level strategy. Now, determine multi-level strategies mean what will be the role and responsibility of the top management, what will be the role and responsibility of the middle management, what will be the role and responsibility of the lower management. Each and every role and responsibility shall be clear. Then only we can say that good strategy can be formulated. Who will be designing strategy? That should be clear. Who will be formulating strategy? That should be very clear. And the person who is given the authority or freedom to design strategy, that person shall be or should be capable of that particular thing. It should not happen that, as normally it is said, that strategies are made by the top brass of the organization, top people of the organization. And as it is written that all the strategies are to be designed at the top level of the organization, so only the general manager or managing director or CFO or CEO or CEO, they are the people who can design the strategy of the organization. Now, when we are determining multi-level strategies, the first thing we need to decide is that who will be the authority, who will be formulating the strategy. Now, here, that expert may be the middle level person who is an expert and given a freedom, authority to come up with a new strategy. That may take place. It is not that each and every time only the managing director or the highest authority of the organization shall come into picture related to formulation or designing of strategy. Now, this particular job can be handled by a efficient person who is having good knowledge related to that particular say state of business where the organization is planning to formulate a strategy. So that we need to understand. Next one, formulate a strategic plan. Now, once it is decided that okay, we will be implementing a new strategy, and the new strategy, it is decided that we will be replacing our semi-automated machines with fully automated machines. Now, once this strategy is finalized, then we need to formulate a strategic plan that when we will be replacing these machines, the semi-automated machines with the fully automated machines. Next, who will be the people who will be given the responsibility to work on those machines, whether they are trained or if not, uh, who will be giving them training or where they will be deputed for training. All these things are to be discussed or are to be included in a formulate a strategic plan. Then strategy implementation, conduct execution structure. Execution structure. That again, here also specific roles will be given, specific responsibilities will be given. Because strategic intent, we are checking how much the organization is serious about implementing strategy. Next, strategy formulation is related to strategy designing, depending upon SWOT analysis of the organization. Strategic strategy implementation is that where we are giving individual responsibility. That okay, you will be the senior manager is given the responsibility to implement strategy. Then another senior manager is given the responsibility to monitor that strategy. So all these things we need to decide under the third stage, that is strategy implementation, where now this is the stage where the strategy is actually implemented on ground in the organization. Because strategic intent, it is we are doing some analysis on paper. Strategy designing, again we are doing some analysis on calculations on paper. But when we talk about strategy implementation, this is a concept which says that it is actually what we are doing on ground related to strategy implementation, how we are executing that strategy, that we need to understand here. So that's the reason why it is written conduct execution structure. Execution structure means that who will be giving the instruction, then who will be actually implementing. Actual Actually implementing means that senior manager has given the instruction, or he will be responsible for uh, overseeing or monitoring the entire changeover of what, that replacing fully automated machines with semi-automated machines. So he is the person who is given the responsibility. Then that next, the people who will be the employees. Suppose 100 employees are working in the organization, and now 10 machines are there. Now 10 employees have to be shortlisted, that these are the 10 employees who will be working or who will be operating those fully automated machines once they are installed in the organization. All these things are to be included under the first point, that is uh, construct execution structure. Next one is allocate resources to activities. Again, allocate resources to activities. We need to understand related to that, allocate resources to activities. Then manage behavioral and fundamental implementation. Now, behavioral and fundamental implementation, it is related to the employees who will be implementing or executing those change. Under change management, in the last few lectures, we had discussed that change, everyone is aware that change is a fact which we cannot deny. It is a never ending phenomena. It is a mandatory thing, and we have to accept. If we refuse change, then the growth of the organization may stop over, if not in the near future, in the distant future, the growth is definitely going to stop. So we have to accept it. But the common human tendency is that whenever change is introduced by the organization, the common tendency is that we refuse change because we as human beings, we feel comfortable when we are repeating a particular task for a longer period of time. Now, for example, you are working on semi-automated machine for say 5 years or maybe more than that. Now you are used to the machine, you are aware of in and out or minute details of that machine. And whenever the organization comes with an idea that we want to replace your machine, the immediate reaction of yours will be that why you want to replace this machine. This machine is good. I am very comfortable with the operations of the machine. I know the minute details of the machine and the quality or productivity of the machine is excellent. So the first thing which normally we do is we resist change. Now for in the first semester, the classes will start say at 9 a.m. The students were told in the induction program that from tomorrow onwards we will be starting regular academic activities and the regular classes of MBA first year will start at 9 a.m. And after 2 months, when these classes have been going on for 2 months, or maybe 3 months, or maybe 6 months, suddenly the authorities change the schedule. That instead of 9 a.m., now we have decided that we will be starting the regular classes in the college by 8 a.m. or by 7:30 a.m. or by 7 a.m. The first reaction of most of the students will be that it is not possible for us to reach the institute by say 8 a.m. or earlier than 8 a.m. Many excuses will come from most of the students, and after some time they will get used to it. And that is why it is said that whenever we are introducing change, it should not be sudden, it should be slow. And before introducing change, it is better that all the stakeholders, that is the primary stakeholders in college are students, that they have to be taken into confidence. That we have decided to start the classes early, and we have to share the advantages why we are starting classes early. What are the advantages? How this early starting of college is in the favor of students. So once we are able to convince them, then only we can expect that most of the students will start reporting to the college uh, earlier than the 9 a.m. So they will be reaching college by 8 a.m. for 8 a.m. classes or before 8 a.m. for 8 a.m. classes. So that we need to understand. So whenever in the organization also, when this semi-automated machine is to be replaced by fully automated machine, the person who was handling that semi-automated machine maybe for 10 years, this person has to taken into confidence that now why we are replacing the semi-automated with the fully automated. Reasons we have to give. We need to give justification to the employee. Then only we can expect that he will be giving his 100% in executing change. Otherwise, he will be giving maybe his 70%, 50%, or maybe less than that. And if such thing happens, we cannot expect better result. Why? Because we want 100% involvement of employees in implementing change. Then only we can expect good results. So the person has to be, say, given correct information that because of competition, we are we are replacing semi-automated machines with automated machines because your job will become easier. Most of the instructions which you were physically giving to the semi-automated machines, now you need not worry. It will be done automatically. Then the productivity of semi-automated machine is less and fully automated machine is more. Quality of fully automated machine is better than the semi-automated machine. Efficiency of fully automated machine is better. So we will be able to increase the output, which will directly help us to increase our profitability. So all these advantages we have to convey to the employees so that when that employee is taken into confidence, then we can expect that yes, now he will be giving his 100% in executing the change. And that is what allocate resources to activities. Allocated resources means not only physical resources but also the uh, manpower resources. Raw material, we will be better raw material, we will be purchasing better machines, we will be purchasing. But what about the employees who will be handling those machines? We cannot overlook our employees. So we have to give, say, focus on the uh, employees also, right? And that is what we need to why we need to focus on manage behavioral and fundamental implementation. Then the fourth one is the strategy evaluation. Once strategy is prepared, once strategy is implemented, then we have to evaluate the strategy. Now it is up to the company whether the evaluation is done after week, whether evaluation is done after 15 days, or whether evaluation is done after, say, 30 days or maybe more, after a longer period. It is up to organization to decide. Now, evaluation is a process where we are checking the results of SWOT analysis before when we were designing the strategy. That if we change the existing strategy and implement new strategy of, say, installing fully automated machine, our efficiency will be increased, productivity will be increased by, say, 20%, profit will increase by 15%, manpower will be reduced by 10%. So all these calculations we had done initially when we were designing the strategy. Once designing is over, once actual implementation is being done, then after the whatever pre-decided period that we will be evaluating the results after 15 days, after 1 month, after 2 months, or maybe after 3 months. So after that period, decided period, after implementing a particular strategy, then the top management or the authority who has been given that responsibility to evaluate, they will evaluate against what? Against the projections which were made by the experts when they were designing that strategy. Okay, 20% increase in productivity, 15% increase in profitability, and 10% reduction in, say, manpower, 20% reduction in wastages. So all these things are documented. Now, Under evaluation, the experts will be cross checking whether we are able to increase the productivity by 20%, whether we are able to reduce the wastages by 10% as we had calculated at the time when we were designing the strategy, whether it is possible for whether the organization is able to reduce the manpower by 10% as it was discussed initially when the strategy was formulated. So all these things, when they are evaluated, then it comes to evaluation part. So that is related to evaluation. Now all these things will be then comes the strategic control. Control means who is controlling that entire strategic management for the organization. Now evaluate under control. Once evaluation is done, then control comes in. Now in control, what we need to discuss is, or what we need to analyze is, evaluate reason for variances. Now variances is that variances means changes, that we were targeting 20% increase in output or productivity. If the results are showing, just a moment, if the results are showing 20% increase in productivity, say that there is no variance, that we can understand. But if the results, when we are doing the evaluation, the results are showing that there is variance of say instead of 20% productivity, the productivity is increased only by say 12% or maybe by 15%. So there is a variance, there is a gap, there is a change of say 5% are have. Can you see my slide?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. So we need to analyze the reason that we were expecting 20% increase in productivity. We are in control. We have to write down, we have to document the reasons for what variances, changes. That 20% was the target, we could achieve only 12%, 13%, 14%, or 15%. So there is change, there is a variance. We have to find out now the reasons for that thing. Now, then everything we will be checking. that earlier what was the output of the employee earlier before training, and after training, whether it is matching or not. Then we will come to know that what are the reasons for variance. Now, why we should be aware of reasons for variances? So again, the answer is very simple, that so that we can take corrective action on those variances. How we will come to know if we have not done a study to check the reasons for variance? We have noted down with the help of under evaluation, we have noted down that the increase is 14%. In the formulation, it is written that increase will be 20%. So there is a variation of 6%. We have documented it and no corrective action is taken. Can we say that it is going to benefit the organization? So the answer is very simple. It is no. It is not going to benefit the organization. So that is where this control comes. That is why we say that control mechanism plays a very vital role. Why we are studying under control, the reason for changes. We had decided that there will be reduction of wastages by say 10%. And when evaluation is done, we came to know that the reduction is 8%, not 10%. So there is still change of 2% is there. Variance is 2% there. So why we should be aware of the reason for such variance? We should be aware of reasons for such variances, because after knowing reasons, then only we can come up with the corrective measure. Once we get to know that some of the employees, their output was not as projected under strategy formulation. So one of the reasons for variance. So here the organization can talk to those people that we were thinking that you will increase the output to this level, but you could not. What is the reason? One of the reason could be that the training given to some of the employees, for one batch, one trainer was there. For second batch, the other trainer was there. The first trainer was excellent. So the employees who got training in the first batch, their output was showing 20% increase in their productivity. But the second trainer, as the trainer was not the best trainer, he was a average or above average trainer. So the when the productivity of the second batch of employee was studied, who were deputed for training uh, on the automated machine, the organization came to know that their output was say 10%, 12%, or 14%, and not more than that. None of the employee in that particular batch was able to touch that 20% productivity mark. So here the organization can understand now that okay, trainer 1 was excellent, so results were better. Trainer 2, next time we have to keep in mind that whenever we are deputing our employee for a training program, we have to see to it whether the trainer is of good caliber or not, whether he is an expert in his or her field or not. So the organization is able to take corrective measures. Otherwise, what will happen? the organization will not come to know that where, how, and why that corrective measures are to be taken to stop that variances. So variances are to be checked. Otherwise, what will happen? Now, if the variances is of say 6% or 5%, if it is not corrected, if it is not checked, that variances can rise to say 7%, 8%, or 9% in the years to come. And that will greatly affect the profitability of the organization. That is why whenever we are saying that uh, the strategic process when we are studying, each and every step plays a very important role. So it is not that this particular process, if we ignore implementation part, so still we can expect good results. Or if we ignore evaluation part, still we can get good result. If we ignore the control part, still we can get good result. Each and every process in strategic management, evaluation, implementation and evaluation plays a very significant role, and every step, every process is to be taken seriously by the management. So evaluate under strategic control, we need to evaluate reasons for variances, then reformulate strategies as per the current condition. Reformulate them. Now we have come to know that okay, batch 2, the trainer who has trained the batch 2 employees, that trainer was not good. Now what corrective action the organization now can do? They can again engage the services of trainer 1, or and they can depute the second batch employees to trainer 1 and ask him to conduct training for these employees. And once they are say they come back from that training, again their performance can be evaluated, whether they are able to now increase their productivity to the level of 20% or not. So that is the importance of strategic control. So this is related to the concept called strategic management process evaluation and control. If anyone is having any query, please go ahead, or else we will move on to the next slide. Now we will talk about the 7 symptoms of non-functional strategic plan. So far we have been talking about designing of strategy, implementation of strategy, then evaluation of strategy, and just now we have spoke about or discussed about the control, the importance of control under strategic management. Now we will be discussing the 7 symptoms of non-functional strategic plan. It is not that each and every strategy which is implemented by the organization gives the result as it was projected in strategy design. Many strategies fail to give results. Now, these are the 7 general. It is not that these are the only reasons, but these are the general reasons which we are going to discuss, which results in failure of strategic plan. Right. So, first one is lack of clear and measurable goals. Lack of clear and measurable. Very important. In the previous topic itself, we had seen that strategy formulation, when we are formulating a strategy, when we are preparing a strategy, when we are designing a strategy, at that particular time itself, we have to make an analysis. related to what? That why we want to implement this strategy. What are the benefits of this strategy? All these things are to be documented. Why it is to be documented? So that when evaluation is being done by the organization, we can very easily correlate what was projected and what we have achieved. If there are variances, again, we can go to the root cause of those variances and we can come up with corrective measures to overcome those variances. That just now we have discussed. Now, here, when we are talking about lack of clear and measurable goals, when how we are going to do evaluation if there are no goals set up. In the previous example, we were able to measure output against what? Against that 20% mark. From where we got the 20%? When the strategy was to be designed in the designing phase, in the formulation phase, the experts, when they proposed this strategy to the management, they also projected the results of that strategy. So those projected results we can take for measuring that whether the results are say are we have achieved the results or we were not able to achieve the results. So we were able to say find out variances because we had that measurement at the time of analyzed at or finalized at the time of designing or formulating the strategy. The 20% increase in output and the actual output was 14% only. So there was a variance of say 6%. How to overcome that variance? So that was easier for the management to find out. Now just imagine that in the strategic implementation or formulation, when the analysis was done, there were no figures, there were no targets, there were no goals. Only one statement was documented, and that statement was that if we change this strategy with the existing strategy, the productivity will improve. So it is a plain statement. How much it will improve? Nothing is given. No data, no figure, no realistic information is given. Just a plain statement is there that if we implement this new strategy with our existing strategy, there will be increase in productivity of the company, of the organization. How much productivity will be improving? That nothing is there. So at the time of evaluation, when the experts are evaluating the result, they will be under a dilemma that 1% increase is also called as increase and 10% increase is also considered as increase. So even if there is increase in output by say 5%, they will say that yes, there is increase of 5%, and some people may say that it is a good increase. Some people may say no, it is not good, it should be 7%. Some people may say that no, it is not 5, it should not be 5, it should not be 7, but it should be more than 10. But why there is a problem in evaluation? The problem is because there was a plain statement, there were no facts, there were no figures, there were no say fixed um, uh, say percentages written at the time of analyzing when that SWOT analysis was done at the time of strategy formulation. At that particular time, it is difficult to evaluate, right? So I hope you have understood this. Next is lack of staff inclusion and commitment. Whenever it is said in the last example itself, we were discussing about that it's a normal tendency of say uh, employees or anyone. It's a normal human tendency that whenever a change is to be introduced, it is at first it is say opposed. It is opposed by the people. No one is ready, or most of the people are not ready to easily accept the change. So, how to convince people? So that there we had discussed that we have to convince the employees related to how that change is going to benefit them, how that change is going to benefit the organization. So that we need to understand. So lack of staff inclusion and commitment. So again, again, otherwise it will become a non-functional strategic plan. Next one is disconnect from reality and environment. Whenever we are formulating a strategy, designing a strategy, we have to think about or study the current environment, as well as we have to think about that what could be the uh, future environment that we need to understand. That is again very important. If we fail to do that analysis, it has to, we have to plan everything as per the real situation or reality or existing reality in the environment. We cannot just think that okay, now for example electric vehicle manufacturing company is there. Now when they are coming up with a new strategy, they check the market, and they come to know that most of the companies which are operating in that electric vehicle sector, they are their profits are on the rise, their sales are on the rise, as well as their manufacturing is also on the rise. So this particular company also decides that okay, we will be investing money in expansion, doing expansion of our say operations department or manufacturing line. So without conducting a real environment check, what the company has done, they have just say seen the environment, or they have just taken a overview of the environment. No deep study is done that okay, organization X, it is doing good, organization Y, again they are into electric vehicles, they are doing good, uh, Z, they are also into electric vehicles, they are also doing good. So we are also entering into electric vehicles, so we will also be doing good. Or we are a small player, as there a lot of potential we can see in this particular sector. So if we want to compete with this big existing player, we have to invest in expanding our operations, our businesses. So just what our competitors are doing or just studying competitor is not important. We need to study the an existing environment also in detail. Then only we will be able to implement strategy in a better manner. Then only we can expect good result when we will be doing uh, evaluation, or at the time when we will be conducting the control activities, we will see that there will be a great variances. Projections were that okay, X company is growing at a rate of say their growth rate is 10%, Y company's growth rate is 15%, and Z company's growth rate is 25%. So we have as a say upcoming player. So what we have decided that okay, when they are say growing at a speed of say 10%, 20%, and 25%, we can set a target for ourselves to grow at a pace of say 7% for uh, in the coming 2 or 3 years. No detailed analysis is done. Now, in such cases, we can say that most of the strategies then fail. Why? Because they have, say, not taken the reality and environment serious. So there is a disconnect from reality and environment. No deep studies were made, no research were conducted, no R&D is done, no advantage disadvantages have been discussed. So nothing is done. Only is the balance sheets of three companies were studied to come to, and the company came to know, my company came to know that yes, this company is showing 10% growth, this company is showing 20% growth, this company is showing 25% growth. So all the three companies are showing growth. We are the fourth company. So definitely market has a lot of potential. So we will also be getting profit. So such type of calculation, such type of research is not going to give you better results. So this is again one of the reasons why many strategic plans do not function well. Reason is disconnect from reality and environment. The next one is lack of financial and human resources. Now, when we are talking about lack of financial and human resources, there we need to understand that for implementing a plan, two most important things we need is, one is money, the other one is human resource. If the organization, under the previous slide when we were discussing about strategic intent, here the intent plays a very important role. How serious the organization's top management is regarding implementation of a particular strategy, we will come to know when, with the clearances we had discussed in that previously, that the clearances are fast, PD clearances are there, funds are allocated wherever funds are needed. That shows the intent of the uh, organization, intent of the top management. Here, lack of financial, that machines are to be purchased, but the capital is not released, money is not released by the company. What will happen? The process will get delayed. 10 people are to be hired of a particular skill, but again, the company is delaying, say, releasing the advertisement for those 10 people. Conducting, again, there is a delay in shortlisting those applications, conducting interviews, and then finally selecting the 10 candidates. So if such delays are taking place due to financial lack of finance or lack of human resource, again, we cannot expect good result and the strategy is going to fail. So the remaining three we will be discussing in the next session. So we will stop here. Thank you everyone for being present in today's session. Thank you.